Previously on Crenden Theater.
Now you two are going to start prepping for the big ballroom number during the second act.
I already know the basics for the waltz. It's Sydney that's going to need the refresher.
Please. I've taught waltz classes before and have no problem box stepping all around you. You probably couldn't keep up.
Oh, all right. Why don't you bring that confidence over here and show me how you're better than me all of a sudden?
You seriously don't think that a Rubiton, the family known for their advances in psychology, is not going to be able to seal the deal? I'm thinking I'm not the one who needs to be worried.
Why is it that I feel it'd just be easier to be in a relationship in order to be more clear with these people?
Alright, Sir Adrian, I guess this means war. May the best noble win.
Chapter 6. Adrian tiptoed into his family's mansion and closed the door behind him, gently in order not to wake anybody up. All the lights were off in the foyer, but the light of the moon's rays were hitting the navy blue walls like a spotlight, lighting up the grand paintings of beautiful sceneries as well as a few great grand relatives here and there. He proceeded to sneak up the few flights of stairs it took him to get to his bedroom. The oak creaked under his feet as he slowly approached his bedroom door. As he reached out for the knob, there was a note taped to it. Adrian, your father and I were called into the APA's annual convention in order to do a series of Q&As and lectures. We didn't want to bother you at your rehearsals, but there's plenty of food in the fridge and Lucy will be here during the week, just in case if you need anything. Your sister is still on her trip, but the three of us are going to fly to the same airport and then arrive home next week. Please be on your best behavior. All our love, Mr. and Mrs. Dr. Rubiton.
Fantastic. Home alone. Again.
Adrian sighed, and then proceeded to enter his room with a lot less caution, and toss the note into a nearby trash can. It wasn't entirely uncommon for the Rubitons to be out on different assignments. Adrian's parents were constantly traveling around the world, and that would often mean leaving he and his sister Jessie behind with their live-in nanny, Lucy. He knew their work was important. He just didn't understand why he couldn't go along with them. Adrian's room consisted of deep maroon walls with gold trim around the edges. The dim sconces along with the blackout curtains made his whole room feel empty and dark. His walls were lined with bookshelves of psychology handbooks, and in the center of the room was his grand bed. A massive four-post spectacle with black titanium decorations as well as a series of curtains draping the edges for maximum light prevention. Overall, it looked like a place you would go to plan some secret war strategies for the government. Or, I guess your average smoker's lounge. Depends on who you ask. Adrian took out his phone and began dialing.
Hey, Sid. Turns out I'm going to be home alone this weekend. You want to come over and throw a party?
Lady Articelli was performing a series of routines for the show in her home dance studio. Her mother was sitting in the corner, her face expressionless as she watched her daughter dance like her life depended on it. She is Lady Cynthia Letty, a former ballerina with a series of award-winning ballet troupes. From musicals to films, Lady Cynthia really made a name for herself as a performer. Until one fateful night, while rehearsing a new stunt for the gala, she was dropped by her bass and fell off of a set 2 stories up onto the hardwood stage and straight onto her spine, separating several columns and rendering her paralyzed. Lady Articelli was only 12 at the time, and little did she know that it would also completely change her life as a dancer as well.
Okay, Mother. That's the most I can do for tonight.
Lady Articelli said, practically out of breath. Her mother said nothing. The two of them stared at each other. She then simply turned and left the room. After the accident, Lady Cynthia began to push everyone who tried to help her away. So prideful she could take care of herself that she was left with only her daughter, and so lonely that she refused to speak out of fear of pushing her away as well. Lady Articelli knew not to take it personally. If it's one thing her mother taught her, is that there was no point in arguing with someone who doesn't want to be helped. She gathered her things and headed upstairs to take a bath. While filling the large porcelain bathtub with warm water and several herbal bath salts, she received a phone call from a number she didn't recognize.
Who is this, and how did you get this number?
Really, Araceli? It was on the cast contract sheet Caleb gave us weeks ago, remember?
That's Lady Araceli to you? What do you want?
I'm just calling to ask if you're down to party tonight. My house is empty, so I'm calling everyone in the cast to invite them over in an hour. You down? Or are you going to be too busy frosting the rest of you?
I'll be there. I need a drink.
Okay, great. Listen, feel free to invite Ian. I don't have his number, but he's totally welcome to join.
Fine.
Before Adrian could answer, Lady Araceli hung up. She began dialing her phone and resumed preparing her bath. Sir Ian entered his stately home in a huff. Greeted by his staff, he pushed past them and headed straight to the study, a place where his own father used to go to work, a place where he was never allowed into. He took a seat behind the desk and stared at a framed picture of his father.
Another financial meeting due to your incompetence to keep your overseas businesses together. Did you have any plans at all before it became my problem? Or was this your final nail in my coffin?
Sir Adrian paused for a moment, realizing he was never really going to get a response. He threw up his hands in frustration and stood up for the chair suddenly. Sir Ian gripped onto the backing of the chair, digging his nails deep into the leather before starting to cry.
Honestly, embezzling millions from your own company, lying to the government, and now I'm finding out that you lost most of your funds because of your obsession with stocks. What the hell am I supposed to do?
It was true. His father, Sir Chris Crenden, had been hiding his own money in a series of offshore accounts in order to claim on his taxes that he was making a lot less than he actually was. Now the Crenden family lawyers are discovering that the company is facing an audit after a new hire reported their family's profits incorrectly. A procedure that would definitely uncover the financial secrets his father had been working so hard to conceal. The lawyers advised that they would begin gathering the books and put together a course of action so they could all reconvene in the next week or so. All of it was so overwhelming. Sir Ian collapsed on the floor, shaking uncontrollably at the idea of him being arrested and his family being slandered because of his father's stupid mistakes. All of a sudden, he received a phone call.
Hello?
Sir Ian said weakly.
Are you crying? Look, I'm just calling to let you know that the Ruperton boy is throwing a party in an hour and wanted me to invite you.
Great, Araceli. I'll be there.
Whatever.
Without warning, the phone conversation cuts off as Lady Araceli hangs up yet again. Sir Ian picks himself up and cleaned himself off. He looked over at the picture on the desk one more time.
The lawyers told me not to worry. Then I won't. Right, Dad?
He headed to his bedroom to get ready for the party. Sydney was scouring her closet for a dress that she would feel comfortable in. She had never been to a house party before. She began to wonder what kind of party it would turn out to be, considering all the movies and books she read about them. Part of her wanted it to be a complete rager, mainly for her to be able to say she's been invited to one. After much deliberation, she selected a beautiful navy knee-length dress with a slim black belt and a pair of flats to match. Sydney began to put a little bit of makeup on and pull her long hair back in order to style it, finishing off her overall look with a beautiful black and gold headband she received as a gift from her mom. Just as she was collecting her belongings and head out the door, she received a phone call.
Hello?
Miss Rosnant.
Oh, hey, Sir Ian.
I was wondering if you were going to Sir Adrian's party this evening. And if so, would you like a lift? I'm happy to make a stop along my way over.
Yeah, sure. I'd really appreciate it, actually. I live at the apartment complex by the theater.
Of course. See you soon.
I'll see you outside in a minute.
After Sydney hung up the phone, she wondered if accepting would give Sir Ian some sort of impression of hope. That wonder quickly melted away when she realized what time it was. She grabbed her essentials and bolted out the door.